Hello and welcome back to today's session. So just a quick recap through the basic Teams training before we begin. So here are the main buttons. So we've got the chat button, the camera, the microphone and the leave button. So you can choose to have your camera on or off. This is entirely up to you. But we do ask that your microphone is off throughout the presentation, so this means there's a line through it, and this will just ensure that the sound is nice and clear for everyone. But if you do wish to speak, please feel free to unmute yourselves and talk freely, ask any questions that you might have. And then finally, please make sure you press the red leave button when the session ends. And if my team goes down at any point and you can't see or hear me anymore, please wait 5 minutes whilst I try to get back in. If your teams goes down, just log off and log back in, and this should hopefully sort out the problem. But if the connection is lost completely at any point and we can't get back on, just drop me an email and we can talk about it during your next phone call. Okay, so just a quick recap of the basic housekeeping. So you may wish to take some notes today, and that's absolutely fine. So now will be a good time to go and grab that pen and paper ready for when we begin. It was also a good idea to have your booklet on you too. Most importantly though, I want you to enjoy today's session, so please feel free to ask questions when you want, have a drink when you want, go to the toilet when you want. There is no recording of the session, and we just ask that anything that's said about yourselves or anyone else does stay in today's session. And you should have all signed a confidentiality agreement, and if you are under 16, your parents or guardians should have signed this for you. And finally, can I just reiterate the use of suitable language during today's session as well. So today's session will take about half an hour, and it is based on portion sizes today. So let's make a start. So what is a portion? So we talked about all the different groups last week using the Eat Well guide. So you should remember all the different types of food and where they belong on the guide. So now in today's session, we'll talk more about how much of these foods we should be eating, and this is what we call a portion. So when we talk about portion size, we mean how much of the food and drink we have at meal times or as a snack, just like a small or large portion of chips or a small milkshake or one large biscuit. So as we grow, we may need a bit more food than we did when we were younger, but not as much as you might think. So in today's session, we'll cover what the recommended portion sizes are for the foods that we might like to eat. So before we start, just have a think about the portion sizes that you have now. So do you think that eating a slightly smaller portion might be a good small goal for you? Okay, so on page 17 of the programme booklet, there are some foods that we might like to eat regularly. So we're just going to go through this list to make sure we all know the right portions for each food listed so that we can still enjoy them but in the right amounts for our age. So the unit of measure we are going to use as we work through these slides is tablespoon. So let's start with cereal. So cereal can be something that we eat too much of, as it's really easy to fill the bowl to the top. So the actual recommended amount of cereal is 3 spoonfuls for 5 to 10-year-olds and 4 tablespoonfuls for 11 to 18-year-olds. Now this might seem quite a lot less than you're currently having, so to make sure we're not feeling too hungry, try putting a handful of chopped fruits on top, and this will count to one of your 5 a day and also add some tasty flavours. So if you are choosing something like puffed rice for your cereal, you get more cereal than something for like multigrain hoops, for instance, and this is because the hoops are bigger and heavier, but the puffed rice is smaller and weighs less. So if the amount is a lot different to what you have now, try reducing it a little bit each week until it's closest to the recommended portion size, and this way you shouldn't notice too much difference if you are changing slowly. So bread is an easy one to measure out as it's already pre-sliced, but not all sliced bread is the same. So if you have a thicker sliced bread, this will be more energy. So we recommend opting for the medium slice thickness if you can. So for the ages 5 to 10-year-olds, a portion is 1 slice, and for ages 11 to 18, a portion is 2 slices. Now the idea is to bulk out the slice of bread with lots of healthy toppings, so it could be something like tuna sweet corn, for example. Okay, so now on to chips. So chips can be a tricky one to measure as they come in all different types and sizes. There are fries, chunky chips, homemade chips, the list goes on. But the book shows that we normally have half a plate full of chips, when a better portion would be less than half a plate full and even less than that for the younger ones. So approximately 11 chips for 5 to 10-year-olds, and for 11 onwards approximately 15 chips. And another good idea would be bulking your plate out with lots of nice veggies. Okay, and then we have pasta next. So this can be measured in tablespoons again. So a tablespoon of cooked pasta for a youngsters is 3, and for the older children and young adults it's 4. So this portion might look small, but it actually gives us just the right amount that we need. And if we add in some chicken or tuna or veggie alternatives like meat-free chicken pieces or beans, and then also top with some veggies as well, such as sweet corn, it can actually help to keep us fuller for longer. And if you like adding sauce to your pasta, try having a small amount of tomato-based sauce instead of lots of creamy or cheesy sauces. Okay, so now we have fish fingers, chicken nuggets and sausages. So a portion of fish fingers for a 5 to 10-year-old is 3 pieces, and for 11 to 18 is 4. For chicken nuggets it's 4 pieces for the youngsters and 5 for the older children, and for sausages it's 1 sausage for the younger ones and 2 sausages for the older children. If burgers are for tea, we recommend just trying to have 1 standard size burger rather than having 2 or more of the huge burgers. And pizza is a really tempting one. It's so easy to eat lots of it. But you actually might be surprised to know that a portion of pizza is just 1 slice for the youngsters and 1.5 slices for the older children. So that is one of your standard dinner size plate pizza that's cut into 6 pieces. Now to bulk this meal out, you could pair with some vegetables, some salad, or a nice jacket potato on the side. Finally, let's look at ice cream and yogurt. So ice cream is a good one to try changing, as it's pretty easy to measure out, and just measure a scoop less each time until you are down to 1 scoop for 5 to 10-year-olds, and for ages 11 plus you're at 1.5 scoops. And then we have yogurt. So when we have yogurt, try going for a small, low or 0% fat options like fromage fraise for 5 to 10-year-olds, and the older children can have a slightly larger part of the low fat yogurt too. So another good idea when having yogurt is adding your own flavourings by adding some chopped fruit into it. Okay, so once again, I'll just reiterate, please do not worry if your portions are bigger than recommended at the moment, which can actually seem really small. So try reducing your portions a little bit at a time, as just these little changes can go a long way and make such a big difference. So now it's time to look at fruit and veg portions. So does anyone enjoy eating fruit and veg already? And if yes, have a think. What different fruits and vegetables have you tried and enjoyed, and how do you like to eat them? So that might be you like adding vegetables to your meals, or you like having fruit and veg as a snack, or even added to a smoothie. So if you don't currently like fruit and veg, we do encourage you to continue trying them every few months, as our taste buds can continuously change throughout our lifetime. So if you don't really like the taste or texture, a good way to still have and benefit from their nutrients and all the good things in them is to hide the fruits and vegetables in your foods by blending them up or shredding them up, or using small amounts of dips such as a low-fat tzatziki or a nice yogurt to complement the taste, or you could even enjoy them as ice lollies such as a banana or yogurt ice lolly, for example. And it's also a good way, you could do a bit of a game and a taste test with friends or family, so you could even create little scorecards and rate them 1 to 5, 5 being great and you're really enjoying it, and 1 not being so good. Okay, so how do we portion some fruit and veg out? So a good way to portion is to place fruit and vegetables into your hands, as this counts 1 portion. So let's have a try. So if you look at your hand, and pretend you're going to eat a portion of grapes. Now my hand's quite big, so I get to eat a palm-sized amount of grapes. But bigger fruit and vegetables like bananas, apples or carrots can actually be eaten one as they already come portioned out. But things like tinned sweet corn, strawberries, cucumber and little satsumas, you can use your hand to measure out how many to have. So now on to danger deals. So let's have a think about some portions that are already done for us and how to avoid having bigger portions than we actually need. So we'll start with meal deals. Now these can be great as you can find a pre-portioned sandwich or salad with a snack like a bag of fruit or a small bag of popcorn and a sugar-free pop. But there can be some big portions that are often way more energy than we actually need, such as, a large triple sandwich with a big bag of crisps, a large chocolate bar and a big sugary drink. And it's really tempting to go for the biggest options available when choosing a meal deal, but we recommend trying to stick to the regular or small sizes of the main snacks and drinks, as this is a great way to make a big difference. So we also recommend watching out for deals that are offer bigger sizes too. So those deals such as go large or extra free or buy one get one free, as this can also make us eat more than what we actually need. So please stick to the regular sizes where you can, and maybe try sharing the bigger ones with friends or family. So in another session we'll be going through swaps to find better options for the bigger snacks, and this will really help with our portion control as well. So now we're just going to have a look at drinks. So if you remember the last session in the Eat Well guide, we were told we should drink 6 to 8 glasses a day. So what's best to drink? Well, anything with no added sugar is best. So water, sugar-free squash or pop, red or green top milk, and hot drinks with no sugar all count towards your 6 to 8 glasses a day. So we have a little activity now to get our brains thinking about portion sizes of drinks. So let's have a look at the drinks on the screen and try to rank each drink from the lowest in energy to the highest. So the lowest one is water, and this has 0 suns. Next is the small glass of orange, which has half a sun. Then it's sugary pop with 1.5 suns. Next is a large fast food milkshake, which has 6 suns. So that leaves the hot chocolate with cream and marshmallows with the most energy with 7 suns. So the hot chocolate with the added extras of the cream and marshmallow, large milkshake and sugary pop should be drank less often. And try swapping these for sugar-free pop, low-fat hot chocolate without the extras, a homemade milkshake or smoothie, as these are all good lower energy options. Okay, so also we recommend looking at the size of the drinks glass you use, as this can make a big difference. So trying to use a large glass for water or sugar-free drinks, but for drinks such as fruit juice and sugary pop, these should be drank from a smaller glass. And this is because we want to reduce the amount of these kind of drinks we are intaking, as they can be higher in sugar. Okay, we also recommend using smaller plates and bowls, as it's very easy to overfill a larger plate. So using a smaller plate, it's also tricking the brain, as it looks like more food in comparison to the plate, but it's actually the correct portion size recommended. We also recommend eating without distractions where possible, as mindless eating can result in the brain not actually registering that we are full. And we also encourage chewing your food and taking time, as it actually takes 20 minutes to register if you are full or not. So I just want to stress once again that the guidance provided on portion size is just a guideline. We are all different and have different factors that can impact how much food we need. So, a higher activity level or going through a growth spurt, for example. But by being aware of what is recommended, it's a really good tool to have, as you can then compare what you're currently having to what is recommended, and slowly but surely reduce your intake to similar. Okay, so now we're on to the top tips for this session. So today's top tips are: try to use a smaller plate for meals. It helps you eat less. Add a portion of veg and reduce the portion size of foods such as chips, chicken nuggets, pizza to try and get your plate more balanced. And finally, try not to have a pudding every day. Just have a pudding now and again, but please still be portion wise and keep it small. Okay, so now on to the goal setting for today's session. So here's Tom and Shan, and they have set some goals, and these are nice and small goals that would be easy for them to do. And these are: have 4 less chips every time they go to Nan's. On a Wednesday, have 1 less sausage at tea. And finally, only have 1 scoop of ice cream on a Friday instead of 2. Now, this is your turn to have a think with your parent or guardian about a small change or a small goal that you would like to try to make. Write it on your goal tracker sheet, and we can discuss this in your one-to-one phone call with your key worker. Okay then, so the key take-home messages from today's session are: try to start having smaller portions, but remember, change slow and steady wins the race. Start to try more fruit and veg. You can have this as a snack or with meals. And watch out for those sneaky deals which offer more food, like buy one get one free or more to share. Okay, so now we just have a few questions from Tom and Shan. So Tom asked, if I have less pizza like the portions you told us about, can I just add more chips? To that we say we want you to try and make your plate more balanced. So this is where we can add in, more vegetables. So we are still full after our meal, but we've also added in some healthy parts to the meal, so we're benefiting there too. Shan's asked, if I use a small bowl, plate and glass, and I'm trying to eat more like the portion sizes in the booklet, but I'm getting a bit hungry in between meals, what can I do? So while Shan, we'd say that's a great start with all the changes you've made there. But if you find yourself getting a bit hungry in between meals, try having a small snack like some fruit or some veg sticks or a small yogurt. So we will be going through some great snack ideas in a few weeks' time, so keep tuned. Okay, so we have come to the end of today's session, so thank you so much for coming. So next week's session will be food labels. So please have a read through this section in your booklet and make any notes of any questions you have. So remember to leave this team session now by pressing leave, and we'll catch you at your next session at the usual date and time. Okay, thank you.